Hey there everybody, and welcome to the final update for the Fatal Frame LP. This time around we're going to be looking at some bonus stuff that you unlock after you beat the game, such as this lovely menu here, where you can actually replay all the chapters of the game in story mode. You can listen to all the lovely music and the sound tests, but our main focus in this video is actually going to be getting through the very challenging battle mode. Now, by accessing battle mode, we get this lovely menu here where we can select any number of unlocked costumes. We can also access the camera settings, which actually doesn't have much of an effect in battle mode. But as we scroll down, so we highlight these special functions, we see that we actually have all the special functions unlocked. Now, to unlock these can range anywhere from just completing the game to actually completing the ghost list, or actually completing and getting S ranks in all of the battle modes. They range in usefulness to very useless to nigh on game breaking, but for battle mode what you actually want to use is the Zero ability. This allows your mystical power gauge to always be at maximum, and to get this you actually have to complete the ghost lists. It's actually pretty hard, but with that set, we're actually going to go ahead and start and see just what we have to do in battle mode. Yeah, alright off the bat, we see that we have 4 pages with 5 missions apiece. These will get exponentially harder as we progress through, but we might as well go ahead and start with the very first and see just what's in store. Right off the bat, we find ourselves in a very familiar room against an enemy that we fought back in the first chapter, Koji the editor. And all we have to do is defeat Koji under very strict circumstances. We have very limited inventory, we only have 1 spirit stone, and we're only allowed to use Paralyze. The question becomes though, what affects the rank in battle mode? And that is quite simply breaking 7,000 points with a single shot. Not as easy as it sounds. Especially as we continue on into Mission 2, things will definitely be ramping up in difficulty. In Mission 2, we find ourselves at the entrance of the mansion, facing a ghost we faced many a time, the broken-necked woman. Right off the bat, you do want to go ahead and get a shutter shot in there, just to lower her health a little bit. We don't want to waste that paralyzing on, just the damaging shot. You always want to make sure that you get that binding damage, core shot, zero shot, all in there as one very lump bonus. That's especially where the Paralyze comes into very great effect. It allows you to line up that core shot pretty easily, gets you that extra binding bonus, and means you can get up as close as possible to get a clear shot. But I will say pretty much the first 5 are probably the easiest we're going to get in regards to battle mode. Here we have to deal with the floating woman. Really not too difficult, depending on what angle she comes in at. If anything, it's always a good idea to make sure you know when their shutter chances are going to come up, and at what angles they might choose to attack. Some of the settings you might run into, well, they kind of might be more advantageous to the enemy than to you. Now, this particular fight is probably the most difficult of the first set. We have to fight the assistant Tomoe. And in this particular room, she can actually get the jump on you if you wait a bit too long. Yet again, though, if you know when her shutter chances are, especially the one where she decides to cry, you can get her down pretty easily. And for our final fight of the first 5 missions, we're going to be fighting the novelist Takamine. He's got his full boss health bar, and that is going to be our first opportunity to show off the fact that, well, you don't have to worry about just spamming shots and getting down the enemy. All that matters is getting that really strong final shot. Thankfully, when he does his head grab, it's actually really easy to get that. Also, I forgot to mention, we have been wearing the Special 1 outfit. Not too massively different, it's mostly just a recolor. And you get that by beating the game on normal. But on to our second set of missions. This is where things get a bit more difficult. Find ourselves in a very narrow hallway in a very questionable outfit. This is special outfit number 2 that you get by beating the game on Nightmare. And in this particular hallway, we are fighting the extremely annoying long-haired woman. Not that she's difficult or very damaging, it's mostly that the environment is one where she can easily fly into the walls. Also, especially with the fact that she tends to hover, it can be kind of hard to really get her properly into the frame, even when you've got her paralyzed into one place. Our next fight in the Abyss is against an enemy that we didn't really see all that often, the Wandering Monk. He was just a random ghost we ran into in around Chapter 3. But the idea here is to actually lower his health as much as possible before he gets close, because once he gets close, he starts to teleport around a lot and decides to do a rather nasty jumping attack. Which is sadly pretty much one of the prime opportunities that we have to get that really, really high point shot. As long as you can keep an open ear, though, for his "Arya" that he lets loose whenever he jumps, it's actually not too difficult. And heading into Mission 8, we actually have the return of an enemy that we fought many times in Chapter 3, I think? Yep, is the very tormented blind woman. We already very well know the strategy here. But the difficulty is making sure that you can paralyze her and get her up close. Thankfully, in the end, she really likes teleporting right behind you, really up close, and going into a shudder chance. So, yet again, as long as you know what she does, really not too hard. But in Mission 9, we get our first real curveball in the fact that we get our first battle mode situation against 2 enemies at once. The idea here, though, is to really keep in mind, yet again, you're looking for one powerful high point shot. It's not necessary to kill them both at the same time, and in fact, it's usually a better idea to take out one and try to keep the other one that you're more comfortable with in fighting. Keep that one for last so you can really get the high point shot on that one. In this case, I felt a little bit more comfortable taking down the editor than taking down the broken neck woman. And yet again, the entrance really isn't too difficult of an arena to fight in. And much like with the end of the first set of 5, the second set of 5, we actually have to deal with yet another boss character. This is the folklorist Ryozo, or Manakata. Yet again, very similar idea to the folklore, or the author. We want to get him down to as little health as possible, and then lure him in for a up-close shutter chance. In this case, he likes to teleport up close, leaving us a very good chance to paralyze and murder him yet again. Also, it gives us plenty of opportunities to hear the proper name of the lady's name, Yae, which I do apologize for mispronouncing so many times in the LP itself. But with our third set of missions up, we are getting already halfway through here. We deal with, I think this is the third incarnation of the Headless Priest. You may remember his stage diving move, which just allows us to whittle his health down super quickly. And then all we have to do is wait for him to get up close, paralyze, and core shot. Now, you can also wait for him to throw his fireball attack, but it's usually better to wait for him to do his actual physical attack, as it's a little bit easier to catch him in that. And next up, we have another duo battle. This time, in a very annoying situation, we have to deal with not only the long-haired woman, who I heartily recommend getting rid of first, but you might also hear the childish little giggling of a character we are familiar with. Think from Chapter 2, when we had to play the little game of Demon Tag. The question is, where is she? Ah, there she is. She's hiding in the darkness. Yeah, especially in this situation, the crawling girl is a lot easier to deal with in comparison to the long-haired woman. But if you do give them an opportunity to work in tandem, they are actually a massive pain in the balls to deal with. And in Mission 13, we find ourselves back in the Abyss yet again, fighting Blinded again. The only real difference here from when we fought her back in Mission 8 is the fact that she just has a lot more health. Really, the only thing that changes is the fact that we have to get more shutter chances, but she has honestly never been a threat. Especially with such a big, wide-open environment, it's really easy to see her coming. And with that, we never have to fight Blinded again. In Mission 14, though, we do have to deal with another duo. And this time, I actually want to take care of the high point kill before we get to the second ghost. Mostly due to the fact the second ghost decides not to be aggressive in this situation. So we have plenty of opportunity to kill the crawling girl to get a massive point bonus. And that just leaves the second ghost to take care of, and that is... oh! In case you were wondering what the attacks for the girl in the well were, they apparently involve jumping up right in your grill. Still though, since we don't have to worry about getting a high point bonus for her, we don't have to worry too much about her shudder chances. And that just leaves another boss fight for the 15th mission. Find ourselves in the fish tank room fighting the Family Master. Now, while this might seem initially imposing, it's really not. Just wear him down as quickly as possible. And whenever you get him down to basically one shot of damage, just wait for him to do a very particular attack. That charging attack leaves him wide open to being paralyzed. And there we go. Just barely having one shot left, but we got a massive point bonus off that. And another mission complete. And that leads us into the final set of 5. We're going to be wearing the final outfit, which you get by beating Nightmare in under 4 hours. Our first fight is against 2 Headless Priests. And yet again, the idea here, kill one of them as quickly as possible, because getting double teamed by these guys can be a very, very nasty situation. Especially since one of them has the ability to teleport right behind you at foot level and easily grab you. And they are really difficult to tell apart, so just hope you kill that one before the other one, because you really don't want to have to get a shudder chance on that one. There we go, another mission down. Could be a bit difficult in this particular room, but I don't know, as long as you know their pattern and wait for them to get through the panels, they're really not too difficult. Really, the difficulty comes in the final 3 fights. Our first fight is a gruesome duo, the assistant and the novelist. The first idea here, yet again, take down the one that's easiest to take down. In this case, you want to take down his assistant first. She definitely has a lot less health than he does, and she also moves a hell of a lot faster than he does. With her out of the way, though, it's merely a situation of doing what we did back in mission number 5, which is just quickly whittling down Takamine's health and then waiting for him to grab his head. It's definitely a lot easier than we fought him back in chapter 1, but that just shows the added benefit of using the zero function. And yet again, we have another situation of fighting 2 mini-bosses. This time we have to fight Yae, or the Hanged Woman, along with her husband, the Folklorist. And honestly, getting rid of her is just the key to getting this really great shot against the Folklorist, because honestly, she has just really awful shudder chances to try to grab. But that's not to say you should underestimate the Folklorist, because I don't know if it's really stated, but you don't really have access to healing items in this battle mode. So you can't really be too open with getting hit, especially for these later situations where, especially when you're fighting two characters at once, they can easily juggle you to death. But with that, we are now at the second to last mission, going against another familiar foe. It's our final fight against the Family Master. And actually there's nothing too different about this fight than before. He has got pretty much the same health. He teleports around a little bit more and does his second phase attacks, such as the skulls. Also, he has a 3-hit combo I didn't show off before, but yet again, you know his shudder chances, and you know how to abuse them. So, you may be thinking, well, that actually didn't seem too hard. But that just leaves Mission 20, the hardest of them all. Yeah, Mission 20 definitely throws you a curveball, as our final boss encounter is against Kyrie herself. Now, what I didn't mention before is that none of the bonus functions actually work against Kyrie, so we're not going to be able to paralyze her. And, as I stated before, she is a one-hit kill no matter what. So we still have to reach that 7,000 point bonus. And I don't really show it off here, but there are earthquakes in this room that will massively throw off your view. The key to winning in this fight, though, is just making sure to know that once you hit her once, well, she'll immediately appear in the same area, and you can easily finish her off that way. But that is battle mode finish, all S modes done. Hopefully you enjoyed the LP, and hopefully you learned a little bit of something while going through this battle mode. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.